Interesting question from one of your followers.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to know, is it right for Christians in Nagaland to lend money at a very high interest rate, sometimes even 10% per month?
Okay, great question. In Nagaland, so many are suffering from high interest rates, all right? So we have to go back again. What does the Bible say about usury, which is charging interest on a loan? And the Bible does have a lot to say about this, okay? I want to read out some scriptures which I have here. Exodus chapter 22, verse 25. If you lend money to any of my people with you who is poor, you shall not be like a moneylender to him, and you shall not exact interest from him. Leviticus 25, verse 35 to 37 says, if your brother becomes poor, take no interest from him or profit, but fear your God, that your brother may live beside you. So God says you have to have the fear of God in this kind of business. Deuteronomy 23, verse 19 to 20. You shall not charge interest on loans to your brother. You may charge a foreigner interest, but not your brother. Okay. So I think the point here is that God wants us to treat one another with compassion. Now, God does not forbid usury or interest, but the heart of God must be seen that you do not do it to exploit people. You do not do it to take advantage of people's situation, and you seek to profit from their plight by taking the houses and the lands later on, which is becoming very common in Nagaland and sadly through a lot of Christians. All right, and they justify it in the term of business. I think in modern day, society and economy, interest is a part of life. You go to a bank, they charge interest and so on. So I think there is justified interest and there's unjustified interest. There's interest that is being charged to exploit the situation and to basically just destroy people's lives also, because 10% a month, that's absolutely ridiculous, right? And yet it's Christians that are charging Christians that. So the Bible does say that, you should treat your brother with compassion, and the purpose of lending is to help them get back on their feet. It's not to exploit them to a point where they're completely destroyed. There's no way that they can be saved. That's what's happening, right? So I believe the high interest rate is not biblical. It is not done with the fear of God. It is not done with the heart of God. And it is done with selfishness and greed, which is sin. And so I don't think God can bless that area. Even though people are profiting from that business, I don't think there's a blessing of God in that kind of business. And if you are in a money lending business, I think there's nothing wrong in being a money lending business as long as you do it with compassion and you do it with, proper values. You don't charge us a high interest. I think you have to keep in mind the heart of God here, that it is to help the poor, it's to help your brother who is in a need and to lift them out of the situation, and it is not to exploit them for your own gains. So what we're seeing is absolutely selfishness and greed only.